A shocking video of India's largest airline, IndiGo, treating a passenger disrespectfully created headlines on the 7th of May. In the clip you can see how the airline company refused to let the specially abled child and his family board the flight, claiming he was in a state of panic and posed a threat to other passengers. The video was posted by a passenger named Manisha Gupta, who witnessed the scene at the Ranchi airport. She said the child was in throes of hunger, thirst, anxiety and confusion. Though he was calmed down soon by his parents, the incident caught the attention of the IndiGo staff, who refused to let the family board. Several passengers can be seen arguing with the IndiGo staff, requesting to speak with the senior administrator, but the ground employees did not listen to anyone. The incident sparked widespread outrage on social media. Even the Indian aviation minister called out the budget carrier. A week later, IndiGo has been sent a show cause notice by the Aviation Regulator Directorate General of Civil Aviation over its handling of this matter. The DGCA, which was investigating the incident at Ranchi Airport, said IndiGo handled the passengers inappropriately. But the question is enough being done to sensitize people about disability?
IndiGo is a national carrier. They need to sensitize their staff. They need to understand disabilities. A wheelchair is not a solution.
As much as I will I will always condemn IndiGo and in fact refuse to fly that airline now, going forward.
Why do differently abled people continue to face discrimination?
The person is having a challenge doesn't mean that he is, you just can't negate them from the society and just pass on, okay, you're not allowed or you are allowed to sit with me.
How inclusive are we as a society? WION spoke to several families to bring you real stories from people living with a disability. Disabled or able-bodied, we all have the power to build a more equitable and inclusive society. An avid artist, a skating enthusiast, and a passionate cyclist. Meet 11-year-old Veer Gupta.
Veer is our world.
I cannot imagine life without Veer.
Veer was 3.5 years old when he was diagnosed with autism, a moment that changed everything for this family.
He was diagnosed around age 3.5 years of age, and we had never heard the word autism. It was like, this diagnosis was a very, very big thing for us. It was a shock because we had an older child and we felt so helpless that we had missed on, important milestones in recognizing that there is a problem with our child. It was only when we discovered he's not making his sentences, he's unable to express himself, that, it rang a bell, that, maybe something was wrong and it was a miss. First is the acceptance of your diagnosis. So we went through the whole circle of acceptance, denial, again accepting the situation, and then finally that this is life for us and this is the way it has come to us. So we'll have to work towards it to make it better for all of us.
When Veer was diagnosed, the numbers used to be about one child in 200, 250. And now, within 8 years, it is less than one child in less than 50 children. So that's how it's progressing, And a recent study I read somewhere, by year 2025, they're expecting 1 in 3. That's the rate at which it is rising. And in India, it was just last 4 years that Indian government has recognized autism as a disability. Earlier than that, they were not even diagnosed as autistic children.
Veer's parents, Nidhi and Sumit, started a journey of a lifetime. Their story is one of hope and encouragement, and it began with tiny steps right from their home.
Now I'm going to show you Veer's room. Veer's room has been designed specially for his needs, and that's Veer playing in his room. So we begin with a visual schedule for Veer. So Veer has difficulties in communication, and because he has difficulties in expressing himself, and understanding, so हमने उसके लिए we've made a chart, a visual skill, and this runs from Monday to Friday. It begins with his day when he wakes up. Now these drawings have been made specially for Veer so that he understands exactly wake up, go to toilet, brush your teeth, drink your milk. So this schedule is very important for him because children with autism work on structure and they must know what is happening next so that we reduce their stress levels, anxiety levels. If they don't know what's next and they are so used to a routine, so they may, get anxious, there may be stress levels. So this works as a framework for the week. Changes are welcome, changes are also acceptable. Then again, we help them with a visual support. And we have more visual support for him in the room. And that is here. This is again to encourage some independent life skills. Visually, I've even put up a toilet sign here, a toilet label. This is a universal sign, and in case he goes to a mall, in case he's in an airport, this is always there. So he knows. His drawers are also all visually supported. So this is again a step-by-step procedure on how you wash your hands. You turn on the tap, take soap, wash your hands, turn off the tap and wipe your hands with the towel. So these are all visual supports to tell you what comes next. Likewise, I have brushing your teeth. So this is all to make him independent. These are very important independent life skills which eventually, and he has to know this to live on his own. So there is more visual support, and something which is very important which these children are unable to express are their emotions and special needs. This is something, so this is done all in color coding. When you're happy, you're in the green zone. When you're angry, you're in the red zone. When you're feeling sick or sad, then you're in the blue zone. So it is done through zones. It's very easy to teach them by matching.
As we grew, as his needs grew, we kind of made changes to that room, and that's his space where he can, do his physical sensory therapy, he can do painting, he can play piano, whatever he likes to do. That's his zone, that's Veer's zone, and we have to absolutely make it safe. Like PowerPoints have to be, when he was younger, so PowerPoints had to be covered up, and there are things like very few glass items were kept in the room. There are 3 layers of curtains we have put in the room to just make it kind of soundproof. Nidhi wanted to teach him how to type or whatever. We did our research, we customized a keyboard, whatever was available here, so he could type and learn to type.
It was this very step towards freedom that paved Veer's way into the world of art. In April, the young artist's work was displayed at New Delhi's National Gallery of Modern Art. Abstract painting is what he loves the most.
We'll do good catching, Veer. Okay, catching hands.
Veer's elder brother, Jai, runs advocacy campaigns online, raising awareness about autism. This inspiring family is not only helping Veer thrive, but also helping others understand the complexity of autism.
So this topic about autism came up in my school, talking about autism with my classmates and all. I realized that they were taking autism to be like a very loose term. They said that autism is a disease. They really didn't know what it means. So what I did was, I felt it was my duty as a brother to someone who had autism to actually inform them what autism was and what exactly is it. So I started an online Facebook page and a website where I started sharing information about autism so that my main goal was just to spread autism awareness.
The family has been left shocked by the IndiGo fiasco, and they believe that the first step toward change is awareness.
And I wish it had never happened, because incidents like these, scare people like us also. Even adults, neurotypical as they say, adults, children all go through emotions. The only thing is that the neurotypicals are able to control their emotions because they understand societal norms. Our children don't. They don't act. They behave themselves all of the times in front of anyone. So perhaps at that moment there was something that disturbed that child and he had a meltdown.
As a society, the awareness for autism is very low. To them, disability means physical disability. They don't understand intellectual disability. People looking normal do have some kind of a diagnosis. So offering a wheelchair is not the answer for intellectual disability. You have to understand that they need to sensitize their staff. There should be protocols put in order that in case such a maybe early boarding, priority boarding, and sensitizing or delegating a special staff to the passenger.
The IndiGo incident, where the staff allegedly announced that the specially abled child was a flight risk, has also shaken Vanilla Guy. She's the mother of 14-year-old Aryan, who lives with autism.
Is Papa's car there?
She fears he too could encounter similar incidents in the future.
We have done a lot of air travels and train travels with him ever since he was young till now, minus the COVID years of everyone's life. Thankfully, I haven't faced challenges over there. He was young that time. Now he is getting into teenage. I'm sure there'll be a lot of difference, because when the physical growth is like of a small child, things are easier. Things get difficult when you grow chronologically and you're built. So then your things have to be very calculated. I do face discriminations when we go to social settings.
Autism spectrum disorder carries with it several symptoms like social anxiety, sensory overload, and fear. Going out in public with her autistic child is far from easy for this determined mother.
There are incidents where we feel that we have been kind of segregated by the behavior of the other person. So if I talk about if I'm shopping alone with him and he is in need to go to the washroom, so that is my major challenge. So sending him alone to men's washroom, he's not that independent to manage the entire task on his own. And taking along with me is I get to hear from the didis over there that he's a grown-up boy. Why are you bringing him to the women's washroom? So then I have to explain that he has a condition, he has some special need, he cannot manage on his own, I have to be with him, and all those stories. So sometimes people are acceptable, they understand your part, sometimes they come into rule books and all, I have to call my supervisor, I need to check this, and it has happened.
Caring for a child with autism presents unique challenges. Vanilla's life turned upside down when Aryan was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3.
When I realized the intensity of him needing me and either of the parent, be it a mom or dad, it's not that only moms are going to, compromise on their careers. I know many families where dads have set back their careers and taken care of this part of the role. So that was the time I decided that I have to quit my corporate job and I have to be with him throughout and fill up those gaps which have been created naturally in his growth. After that, I was like, I found that my child is better now. His challenges, which were earlier 3-4 years back, are getting recovered. He's able to adapt in a school setting for 4-5 hours. So then I thought that what should I do in terms of my career? I took a decision of studying in the needs to do with special education, education which is to do with developmental disabilities. So I did 3-4 courses. So that's how I made my journey, which synced with his requirement. I can help his challenging part to overcome, and along with that I'm touching base with many of the children whom I'm working with using my qualification and experience.
According to the World Health Organization, it is estimated that worldwide about 1 in 100 children has autism. In fact, the prevalence of autism in many low and middle-income countries is unknown. In another report published in 2020, it was stated that over half of children with autism live in low-income households. 9-year-old Janhavi Kashyap comes from one such family. Janhavi's mother earns a living being a cook, and her father is a private worker. Seeing a delayed response in her general behavior while growing up, her parents understood that Janhavi is a special child.
When Janvi was 2 years old, she was not able to stand or walk on her own. She was also a fussy eater and would even refuse to drink milk. My employer told me that I must take her to the center for special children, so I started doing that. Janvi has been going to the center since she was 6.
Each individual on the autism spectrum is unique, with different strengths and weaknesses. Janhavi's journey has been one of immense learning.
Johnny सुना रही थी आप? Johnny, yeah, Papa. It is no Papa. Johnny, like no Papa. Yes, very good.
Within 3 years,
in the last 3 years that we have been working with Janvi, we find that there is a marked improvement in her speech, and she's able to communicate properly. Unlike earlier, she now responds to our questions. She recites rhymes and interacts well with others.
मतलब क्वेश्चन जब हम पूछते हैं तो वो आंसर करती है.
Janhavi is one of the many students enrolled at the Center for Research and Intervention with Applied Behavior Analysis, or CREA. Based in New Delhi, the institute provides early intervention for children with developmental and learning difficulties. CREA is empowering many such children like Janhavi and their families to envision a future where they can live independently.
उसको तो बहुत ज़्यादा सुधार आया वहाँ से.
Janvi has improved so much after joining the center. If she continues going there, one day she will be able to get a job. I believe this firmly.
हमारे बच्चे ठीक हो रहे हैं, अच्छा बोल रही है, सब कुछ सुधार आ रहा है, तो शायद जॉब भी कर सकती है.
Autism is a lifelong condition, but a person with ASD can live a relatively normal life with the right treatment. It can be difficult for people with ASD to find regular, paid employment. Fortunately, an increasing number of employers are open to hiring adults with disabilities, including developmental disabilities like ASD.
So I'll say, like, when it comes to these disabilities, no two people, for example, with autism are the same. So every reaction, every case is different. Every family is different, and we customize our approach depending on the family's comfort.
This is Cafe Arpan, a one-of-its-kind establishment in Mumbai. What makes it so special is that all of its employees, servers and assistants have some kind of intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDDs. The cafe was set up in 2018 by the Yash Charitable Trust, a city-based NGO that has been providing skill development and livelihood opportunities to adults with IDDs.
2017 is when we came across this wonderful story of a family in the Philippines that had started a cafe just so that their son, who is an adult with autism, would have a safe and supportive place to work. So we were inspired by this story and decided that we were going to do the same thing. So I quit my full-time job, and me and Sushma, really just put all our energies, all our efforts into setting this place up. So fast forward to 2018, August 2nd, we officially successfully launched Cafe Arpan. And it's been 3.5 years now, almost 4 years. It's been quite a roller coaster ride.
Nearly 22 young adults with conditions like autism, cerebral palsy and Down's syndrome work here as employees. These salaried, specially abled people work like any other able-bodied employees. They have serious responsibilities, and all of them are mentored by their boss, Ashaita Mahajan.
Each team member is basically assigned a role or a job profile based on their strengths. So we work within a strength-based framework, which primarily means that our team members come with a lot of strengths. They have a lot to give. It's about identifying those strengths and giving them the work that is suitable for them. So we have someone as a counter assistant who takes orders, manages the phone, it also serves whenever the server, say, is having lunch. We have a beverage maker, senior and junior, depending on how long they've been with us. So they have to learn all the recipes that for making beverages. We have junior and senior cooks in the kitchen. We have we have a category for servers.
One of the team members is 36-year-old Arti. The daughter of the cafe, Arpan's co-founder, Dr. Sushma Nagarkar. Arti is autistic, but she has some unique skills which make her an integral part of this cafe.
Well, Aarti works at Cafe Arpan, and Aarti is an extremely people person, more so than me, and I would normally have asked her to do these interviews, but then she'll just get distracted and start singing to you. So Aarti is a very bubbly person. She loves interacting with people. So we decided to assign her the role of greeter. So she greets people when they come into the cafe. And depending on her mood, sometimes you'll get a British accent, sometimes you'll get an American accent. It's like, sometimes you may not get any accent at all. It all depends on how Aarti wants to greet a customer on that day.
Around the world, a large proportion of transport systems remain inaccessible to persons with disabilities. But most of the workers at Cafe Arpan manage to commute on their own, taking public transport.
I came by bus with my dad.
You came by bus? Were you scared?
No.
No? You're too cool, no?
Yeah.
While this is commendable, when it comes to disability inclusive development, a lot more needs to be done.
Some of them now take auto rickshaws by themselves. Depending on the family, some families are comfortable, giving the child, the young man or woman the opportunity and the freedom to go by themselves. Some parents are a little bit more concerned, like, okay, call me when you sit in the cab, call me when you reach the cafe. In some cases, I have to go out and put the individual in a rickshaw and ensure that I take a photograph of the number plate of the rickshaw and send it to the parent. So I think these are all tiny steps that one can take just to make the whole experience more comfortable.
There are an estimated 1 billion persons with disabilities globally, with about 80% of them living in developing countries. According to the United Nations, about 80 to 90% of persons with disabilities are unemployed or outside the workforce. In its own cozy corner, this cafe stands out. The founders have proven that providing employment and allowing disabled people to be financially independent is not a far-fetched idea. Organizations, big and small, are waking up to the potential of hiring the differently abled. But are we ready to integrate them into our world?